Pradesh and Aksai region within China's borders. So how do you see this?
The absurdity and the preposterousness of the Chinese claim is evidenced by the history of the Sino-Indian border dispute. In the eastern sector, there are three sectors to the Sino-Indian border. There is the eastern sector. In the eastern sector, the McMahon line is recognized as the boundary between India and China from 1913 onwards, when representatives of India, China and Tibet had initialed and endorsed a treaty to that effect in Simla. Insofar as the middle sector is concerned, there are no serious divergences between India and China except for certain minor issues here and there. The problem is really in the western sector, where the border historically has been undemarcated, now going back all the way to 1850. In 1865, the British made the first attempt to demarcate the boundary between the erstwhile princely state of Jammu and Kashmir and Tibet. They commissioned a surveyor called Johnson, who surveyed the border and drew something called the Johnson Line in 1865, which was endorsed by a British Major General called Ardegh, who was looking after British intelligence and looking after India specifically. And it is called the Johnson-Ardegh line of 1865. Then you had the Foreign Office line of 1873 and the Macartney-MacDonald line of 1899. All three lines which were proposed by the British to the Chinese, but the Chinese neither accepted or rejected them. All this condensed ultimately into the line of actual control in 1962 after the Sino-Indian War. So therefore, today, the real issue between India and China is that the Chinese have transgressed along that line of actual control at multiple points on a theatre level. Analysts believe that the Chinese are currently in occupation of 2,000 square kilometers of Indian territory. This is the territory which the NDA BJP government needs to get vacated. So under those circumstances, this government should seriously introspect, though the G20 is a multilateral forum, whether it would be in accordance with India's self-respect to be feting a person in Delhi, Xi Jinping, who is in illegal occupation of 2,000 square kilometers of Indian territory along the line of actual control. That is what needs to be vacated. And given the fact that the frontier in the western sector was undemarcated, these myths which the BJP keeps running, that Nehru gave up 38,000 square kilometers to China, is historically absolutely incorrect. Only an intellectually challenged person can make such a obnoxious claim. To sum it up, so therefore the Chinese maps are preposterous. They are not in sync with the history of the Sino-Indian border dispute. China has no claim whatsoever on Arunachal Pradesh. The border in the eastern sector is the McMahon line, which has been recognized since 1913. The only pending issue between India and China is the vacation of those 2,000 square kilometers, which China has illegally occupied by transgressing across the line of actual control from April 2020 onwards.
But sir, this is the scenario what we are seeing right now. The way China is behaving, the way China is doing the thing, they are presenting the things at the LAC. But what should be the course of correction and what should be the line of action of our government? You being a member of the opposition party and a member of the parliament, opposition parties are raising this issue for a long time. And what should be the way and how our external affairs ministry should deal with it?
Well, the starting point would be that the government should publish a white paper on what has happened between April 2020 and the August of 2023 on the line of actual control. The starting point for the NDA BJP government must be a candid admission of all the facts, the unvarnished truth as to what has happened on the line of actual control between April 2020 and the August of 2023. This nation deserves to know the truth. Every citizen of this nation is equally invested in the sovereignty of the country.
And so, till now, the MEA has not given any statement. How do you see this?
Well, I don't know why the MEA has not given a statement, because the historical record is clear. In the eastern sector, the McMahon Line in 1913, endorsed and initialed by the high representatives of then British India, Tibet and China, is the border between, or was the border between India and Tibet till the time Tibet was illegally swallowed up by China. So there is absolutely no ambiguity by not issuing a statement. You are demonstrating diffidence. India should very clearly say, and has been saying repeatedly, that China has absolutely not even one single centimeter of claim in Arunachal Pradesh or anywhere else along the line of actual control as it stood after the Sino border conflict of 1962.